This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Good day, everyone. You're watching the Business Portal, your gateway to business trends and opportunities. Welcome to Pisobilities, live here on GNN. I'm your host, Gita Gopalan of Kalaika Foundation. This is the show that discusses your ability to earn and manage your peso and the possibilities of making that same peso work for you, your Pisobilities. This week, we'll be talking a little bit about something na baka hindi nyo pa po naririnig before. This is the World Economic Forum, which is held every start of the year, at least for the past several years na. So the World Economic Forum is actually an independent international organization which is committed to improving the world by having leaders from various sectors, whether business, politics, the sciences, from everywhere, no, meet and shape what is happening in the world, in the regions, and in various industries. So every year, around 2,500 business leaders, international political leaders, journalists, writers, the youth meet in Switzerland to discuss the most pressing issues of the world and how to address it. So with so many things happening around us, ano-ano ba nga yung mga issues na yan? And how do these affect our daily lives and especially our personal finances? What are the opportunities also? Looking at the world and what's going on, what are the opportunities that we can look at? So how do we deal with this? So this is what we want to find out today. And I'm very happy to have with me today a good friend, Ms. Noreen Bautista from the Institute for Social Enterprise and Development, who was able to join the World Economic Forum in January sa Davos, no? Sa Davos. So let's welcome Ms. Noreen. Hi, hello.
Hi, hello Gita.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
So for our viewers, send your questions or opinions to 0917-853-7333. Kindly indicate your name and location so we can properly acknowledge you. Okay, ayan, eto na.
Yeah.
Ano nga ba yung World Economic Forum? Pero bago yon, let's give, kasi kilala kita kaya feeling ko ready na to jump into the topic.
Right,
But,
right.
Noreen, what's your background? I mean, aside from that you're the general manager of the Institute for Social Enterprise and Development, ano ba yun? What's that?
Okay, so a little personal background. Actually, entrepreneur din ako, no? I really started as a student entrepreneur. I launched a fashion brand with my batchmates. And I basically became immersed sa tinatawag nating social entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So, ever since I was fascinated sa potential ng negosyo na magbigay ng tulong sa mga nangangailangan. And that has basically been my advocacy, using the power of business for social change.
I see. So that's how you got into all this social enterprise and development. Ano ba yung social enterprise, I guess?
Para, alam mo, ang daming definitions, honestly, no? Pero para sa amin, social entrepreneurs are people who try to solve social problems, but through enterprising means.
Okay.
So either they do it through NGOs or businesses. And sa amin, we work with those who are starting businesses, but they try to solve like poverty in this community, yung agriculture, yung mga farmers. So may social impact before sa purpose nila.
So kumbaga hindi yan pera-pera lang. Kumbaga, ang habol
Kailangan
nila.
pa rin maging profitable, pero yung basis talaga ng mga bakit sila na negosyo ay dahil sa purpose, sa social purpose.
So it's I guess it's dual.
Yes.
You're not just talking about na kumita sila from their business, pero yung makatulong din sila habang ganon.
Yes,
I
yes.
see.
Opo.
All right. So how did that, I guess, how did your work with social enterprises, I
Right.
mean, lead you to participate in the World Economic Forum?
Yeah, actually it was very surprising. Last year, in early 2012, I became invited to this Global Shapers community. So it's a youth community of young leaders here in Manila. And I learned that the Global Shapers is actually the youth community of the World Economic Forum.
I see.
And the
Okay.
WEF kasi, as if people are familiar, these are the gatherings of the heads of state, the business leaders.
So ito yung tipong
yes,
pinaka.
pinaka.
Okay.
Ang nagpapatakbo ng mundo, basically. But, it's interesting because throughout the years, they've opened up the community to involve young people especially. Kasi sa Global Shapers, sinasabi kasi namin na 50% of the global population are under the age of 27 or 30.
Okay.
So that's basically the millennial generation na tinatawag. And that's us. So everything that we're talking about in the World Economic Forum, politics, government, business, it will affect our generation.
Yes,
so
yes.
whether it's good or bad, kailangan natin, to deal with it.
What's happening.
Yeah, so they have, since 2011, they created the Global Shapers, and they select 50 young people all over the world to go to the Davos forum. Davos is in Switzerland, that's where the WEF is, and be at in the same conversation with the heads of state and the leaders of the
Siguro ang
world.
dami mong nakilalang mga interesting people
Yes.
while you were there.
Very much. It was very overwhelming, and I personally, sobrang hindi ko talaga na-expect. But I guess because we had to do a pitch, no? So lahat kami, dito sa Manila, we were around 20 plus young leaders, all very excellent in their fields.
20 of you went to Davos.
In Manila, in the hub that we have,
okay.
there are 20 of us here, and we all had to submit a pitch to the World Economic Forum. And my pitch was basically about social enterprise,
So parang a pitch is like an idea that you need to propose.
And what I'm doing, kasi yung theme kasi ng WEF is improving the state of the world. So
this is now.
This is now.
This year.
Actually, it's the whole organization.
Okay,
Ganun
okay.
talaga yung theme nila.
Improving the
Improving
state of the world. Okay.
So we were supposed to submit a pitch to explain what we're doing to improve the state of the world. So ako, yung sinabi ko, I'm a social entrepreneur. I've been getting myself involved with other enterprises. And it's all about really trying to fuel growth in our country. Kasi yun nga, lumalakas actually yung economy natin, pero alam mo naman yung sinasabi nila, hindi inclusive.
Kaka-release lang ata ang GDP data today or yesterday.
Oh, okay. So we're still one of the fastest growing. But of course, yung sabi nila, bakit ang dami pa rin nahihirap, inclusive growth pa rin. And for us, it's always about entrepreneurship talaga. And we believe that we need more entrepreneurs, not just people who are making money, but people who are also solving social problems. And you'd be surprised there are a number of them. And those are the people we work with in our institute. So,
I see.
yeah.
Okay. So this is basically kung ano yung what you shared with your Global Shapers community. And because of that, kaya ka napadala sa Davos.
Oo, for some reason. It was a very privileged experience. There are only 50 of us from the whole world. So they selected 50 young people. There are, I think, just 4 of us from Southeast Asia. And we were there for pretty much 1 week.
Okay.
And we had some
sessions. So the whole conference lasts for a week?
The main conference lasted for 4 days, but we had a few pre-events na kami lang yung mga young people. And when we were there, we were supposed to represent our generation. So I wasn't there representing my endeavor, not even my country, but it's really the young people because you would see it There are only 50 of us and all these big senior
So 50 out
people.
of these 2,000 plus
2,000 plus people. And the experience is very empowering kasi totoo nga kapag dinadala mo yung isang youth sa isang conversation, we bring kasi very refreshing ideas to the table. And we're actually on the ground working on challenges. So mga kasama ko from other countries, they work in non-profits, human rights, business entrepreneurs also.
I'm sure
so various
the
fields.
businessmen are not on the ground, they're like high up in their penthouses and stuff.
Well, yes, but there are also some people na very on the ground din. And that's actually one of the things that I was very thankful to seeing and meeting people who you hear also in the headlines. And I could mention some of them. We met Marissa Mayer of Yahoo. We met also heads of state like the President of Liberia, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, women leaders, basically. And it's very fascinating because they talk also in the language of how business, na kailangan yung business may puso And so it's not, I mentioned the CEO of Pepsi, she's also a woman, who said it's not anymore about what we do with the money we make, it's also about how we make the money.
Okay.
So, nakakatuwa kasi that's exactly what we advocate sa social enterprise. Parang hindi lang basta-basta may advocacy ka. It's not just after profit that you give back. Parang naka-embed
Hindi lang
na.
yung parang donations.
Oo.
Yeah.
Although that's good, we recognize it's still good.
Yeah,
Philanthropy, it's all good pa rin. Pero if you're serious in trying to do this business of social change, it has to be the whole business. And those were conversations na na-affirm sa Davos. Everyone was talking about it.
I see. So
yeah.
this is one of the key themes that we're looking at for the coming years. No?
Yeah.
More about social business and social entrepreneurship.
Yeah, definitely. But what was also interesting there is, hindi lang siya about business. Alam mo yung pinaka na amaze ako, na surprise. The first part of the WEF, Pope Francis was actually there.
Okay.
Well, he wasn't there per se, but he gave a message.
Okay.
And, he was saying about how economics should be reformed to be about the human person,
Yeah.
And normally, I would hear that just from, the religion classes in school. But I happened to be hearing it in almost every session I was in, whether I was in a business session or a creativity session.
That economics has to change. Parang
And basically, be grounded on human beings, on people. So, nakakatawa. I was in a session on rethinking economics. It was a dinner session. And nandun yung mga professors from Harvard, from Princeton, and what have you. And they were all talking about how we're teaching our students economics is all wrong. And I was like, wow. And basically what they're saying is, economics kasi based siya sa human behavior. And you can't predict human behavior. I mean, in the sense that we're all irrational. So, they're trying to point na kapag we study our economic models,
economics kasi sabi nila everyone is rational and that everyone will choose according to ano yung pinaka-useful, no? Utility. So, I guess in your discussion, what you're saying, what I'm understanding is hindi ganun eh.
Hindi ganun.
People are not rational, no?
Yeah,
okay.
And one thing that struck me, there was the Harvard professor said, what he thinks was the best thing that happened since the 2008 financial crisis is kini-question yung morality on how we run businesses, how we govern. So there was a lot of talk on values.
I see.
And interestingly, the WEF kasi has global agenda councils where they invite leaders in the fields. There's an agenda council on business, economics, but there's an agenda council on values. And you have
world values.
Yeah, and you know what? You'd be interested to know, Cardinal Tagle is part of that. He was actually in the WEF and with a number of Filipinos also. And he spoke in a panel on being authentic. And he was together with a journalist, a chef, a PR executive. Very diverse.
Kaya chef, kasi yung mga foods natin hindi na authentic.
Well, apparently he also had an advocacy,
I see.
Helping mga organic farmers din. So, actually nakakatuwa na may mga ganong sessions. And I think it's telling me that umiiba talaga yung conversations ng mundo. Parang hindi na siya dapat yung, you're about just making money and making profit. Pero, I mean, it's all about improving the human person. That's actually my general takeaway from the whole experience. No matter kung saan, ano yung forum ko, parang it's all about improving people. So, dapat people-oriented. Kahit, especially if we're doing business, so sa mga entrepreneurs, that's exactly what we advocate kasi sa social enterprise. Kapag nagtenegosyo ka, talagang nakasentro sa tao. So, hindi ka mangungupal and all that. It's like, it really has to be fair.
From like just the basics of paying fair wages.
Yeah. Oo. And you know what? In the institute, actually, we're part of a foundation called the Benita and Catalino Yap Foundation, and we advocate also CSR. Pero yung CSR namin kasi it's citizenship, sustainability, and social responsibility. It's something that we our foundation developed from research also, and it basically says na bago ka magsabi na social entrepreneur ka, dapat una good person ka muna talaga. You're a good citizen.
Yeah.
You follow rules. You're a
Pay
good person
taxes,
in the
things like
family.
that.
Oo, mga ganun, basic. And true enough, those are things that are echoed also in the WEF. Kaya nakakatuwa Parang it has to start with the person talaga. Oo.
I think one of the challenges kasi when you're outside looking in.
Yeah.
Kasi parang just looking at the roster of who
Yeah.
who was there, di ba?
Mm-mm.
It's ang lalaki ng mga pangalan. Ay,
Totoo.
not just malaki na nga dito yung mga Ayala eh. Pero
Oo
we're
nga.
talking about yung mga pangalan in the world, no?
True.
The likes of Bill Gates, mga
I
things
know.
like that.
We were actually in the same room with him, so I was, okay, it's just good to say that we were in the same room with him. Bill Gates, Richard Branson,
Yeah, so this
Muhammad
is
Yunus,
um,
whatnot.
sino yan? The
Virgin, Richard
Corporation,
Branson.
yeah.
But you know what their session was? It was about the power of philanthropy and giving
Okay.
back. So Richard Branson has this movement called the B Team. So it's parang how do you redefine business? Ganun din yung sinasabi nila eh. And you hear Bill Gates, who's now doing a lot of philanthropy work, right? He would hear him say na, I'm making a lot of mistakes in my business of doing good, in my philanthropy work. And he's admitting that, which means na, that's something I think that's very illuminating eh, kasi you have all these young people also wanting to aspire to be like them. But here they are at the tip of their career and they're saying, what's next? It's like, I have all these resources. You have this responsibility to give back also. So that was my experience nga eh, na parang, for me, I saw them as people wanting to do good, and which I think is innate naman sa lahat sa atin. Parang we all want to help. And yeah, so it was, for me, it was very inspiring and empowering.
What are other themes, I guess? Obviously, helping out, giving back, because it's also the thrust of the World
Right.
Economic Forum. What are other themes that came out? I mean,
Right.
madaming sa ngayon eh.
Madami,
Oo,
sobrang
parang
dami.
what are more specific, let's say, action plans that
Right.
that were, I guess, brought out or discussed
Right.
further?
Well, because we're part of the global shapers nga, there was a lot of talk na on our generation. the power of the millennials or the power of the
Okay.
youth. Kasi nag-release yung World Economic Forum 10 trends for 2014. And you could actually access this in their site.
Okay.
One of the trends is the millennial workforce. So 10, 20 years from now, you will have a workforce around 70% of people under 30.
Okay.
Because yun nga, the average age right now in the world is 27.
Okay.
So, ngayon, alam niyo to yung mga generation kasi ng mga kabataan, when they're in the workforce ngayon, you'd notice they're very fidgety, they wanna resign.
It's a different
kind of work.
workplace. Yeah.
Because our generation is trying to look for workplaces that also are aligned with what we believe in,
Okay.
with our values. So yes, the money is important, we need the money, but we also need meaning kasi parang, and it's across the generation.
So this is something this is a reality, I guess,
Yeah.
that the old way of engaging employees and engaging
Yes,
people into your
yes.
business isn't working, parang ganon, or is not as strong as before, whereas before, as long as
Right.
you give them enough pay, enough
Right.
security, okay na, parang ganon.
Yes. And I was very happy to actually meet CEOs who are thinking like that. They're saying that we engage the young people in our company. So one of the companies, for example, that is very supportive of the global shapers, Coca-Cola, they always support the young people, and they're saying that they help our projects, and they always learn a lot from the young people. That's what they say. They encourage the other CEOs to, you know what, you have to give a voice to all these young people kasi they have so many ideas and they think differently eh. And that's true, because we live in a social media generation. Ang dami nating gusto kong gawin. And it's all about giving them a platform to make a difference eh. So if it's a call to action for all these employers, if they want to really innovate yung companies nila, they should provide a platform sa young people to do that.
I guess it's also applicable to yung mga small businesses right now if they're having difficulties with their with retaining young people, promising talent.
Right.
Maybe that's the key ingredient that they're missing right now.
Yeah. There's so much that you could get from these young people alone. Yung mga kasama ko pa lang dun eh. Kasi I think the young community of the World Economic Forum, we're actually 300 hubs all over the world.
Okay.
So that's 3,000 young people, more or less. And the World Economic Forum actually encourages those companies and even the heads of state to engage with these hubs of young people para whatever na, resolution that they come up in the WEF, kung gusto nila actionable agad, i-engage mo yung youth. So, well, it's interesting, no, because we had friends who came from the Middle East, from Ukraine, ang daming nangyayari ngayon ng mga political instabilities doon. So, well, it brought home the issues for me kasi may mga friends kami who really was in the affected areas, yung mga Syria conflicts, mga ganon. And I've seen how they're also trying to engage their leaders there. And because there are heads of state na naglalakad lang sila doon So parang, it was fascinating. I mean, for us, when we were there, parang regular people lang sila. But of course, you realize, wait, this is the prime minister of someone. This is the president of this and that. And it's interesting because, well, there are people who are really willing to listen to the young people and to, listen to what we have to say. So that was one empowering thing that I've experienced.
I see. You mentioned there are 9 other parang themes, I guess, for the World Economic Forum moving forward. Maybe we can go through a couple more of them in a while.
Right, sure.
But for those of you that have questions or have opinions, do send us your text messages to 0917-853-7333. Do indicate your name and location so we can properly acknowledge you.